Welcome to Kaleidoscope S4IG. Let's talk. Dr Asha De Vos is truly a superstar. A globally acclaimed marine biologist, she's been studying the largest animal on the planet, and thanks to Asha's research, the International Whaling Commission designated the Sri Lankan blue whale a species that is non-migratory as a species in urgent need of conservation as well. Asha was named amongst BBC's 100 Women in 2018. Sea Hero of the Year in 2020 by Scuba Diving magazine, is a TED Senior Fellow, National Geographic's Emerging Explorer, a Pew Fellow in Marine Conservation, a Duke University Global Fellow, selected as a Young Global Leader by the World Economic Forum, and is the founder and director of the non-profit Ocean Swell. She is also the first and only Sri Lankan to gain a PhD in marine mammal research, and just recently was named Equality and Diversity Champion by the British Ecological Society. We are truly thrilled to have on Kaleidoscope's Let's Talk today ocean educator, Sri Lankan marine biologist and pioneer of blue whale research in the northern Indian Ocean, Asha De Vos. Let me go back to your childhood. You were 6 when you started poring over Nat Geo magazines and discovering things that no one else did. Well, you've done that. How did your fascination with marine life start?
I would see the ocean every day going to school, and I think it piqued my interest. Couple that with my curiosity about nature in general. We had caterpillars and scorpions in jars in our bedroom, and we were just like wild children. We grew up in the garden. My parents really encouraged that and curiosity, and then I became a swimmer, and for me just like water became my element. So I think all of those things kind of came together, and just like the vision of the ocean, I would see this massive blue tank of water, but I knew that if we could lift the lid, there was something magical inside, and so that's kind of like, it drew me in.
Why did you hone in on the blue whale?
I happened to get myself onto a vessel that was circumnavigating the globe and stopping in Sri Lanka. So long story short, I managed to get on board, and we were actually studying the sperm whales around Sri Lanka. And this one day we were off the southeast coast, like off Kirinda, and we were looking for these sperm whales that were tracking, and I was out there like searching on top of the water because we had microphones in the water to listen to them, but we had to see them by sight, and I was looking everywhere and didn't see anything, getting really frustrated. Shift is coming to an end. I'm like, now I want to see, and I want to like get this, be that person and all of that, because I knew there was a big group, big pod. And then in the distance I saw a giant, spout, massive, powerful blow, and I knew it was some kind of huge animal with massive lungs. So then we went, and it was not one blue whale, there were 6 blue whales there, and that to me I was blown away. That was my first encounter, and I was thinking, wow, Sri Lanka, we have blue whales, and that was just a big thing for me.
What are the most recent findings you've unearthed?
So I've broadened from just being a blue whale scientist, which is where it all began. We work on sperm whales, so we have we're still in the process of like discovering things as well, right? As you can imagine, there's always a next step. So we have these squid beaks from sperm whale poop that can tell us what particular species of squid the sperm whales are feeding on, of Culpitia. So that's that next step. Find a good microscope, sit and do that. But apart from that, we have we've done the first ever deep sea research in Sri Lanka. So really pioneering work. We did it last year. We've been uncovering, there's all these species. I can't even tell you what they are because they're not published yet. But I can tell you we found a type of squid that we know is the prey of sperm whales in other parts of the world. But what I can say is there's at least 2 species of shark, at least 2 species of rays. There's all these different kinds of fish that in our history we have never seen before, and they were just off our coastline in deep waters.
How many species of whale are there around Sri Lanka?
Altogether, large whales, there's about 5 species. And what's exciting about that is that, we think about the blue whale and the sperm whale. There's another species called the Bridie's whale. And then, a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I discovered this species that was new to our waters, right? And the reason it's really, so we knew it lived in Madagascar and in Japan, but we didn't know it lived around our coastline. And so it was really exciting because it's an animal called the Omira's whale that can grow to about 30 feet, right? And it's right there on our coastline, and we were overlooking it, right? Assuming it was the Bridie's whale. So my point is that if we are overlooking giants that can get that big, imagine all the other smaller things that we are not seeing or not recording, right? Which just goes to show that our waters, there's so much left to discover, and it's teeming with life.
You helped to designate the Sri Lankan blue whale as a species in need of conservation. What is actually killing these whales?
So out in Sri Lanka, one of the biggest threats that they face is ship strike. The problem is that those shipping lanes are on an area that's very good for feeding for these for whales, right? Not just blue whales, even Bridie's whales feed in these particular areas where the slope of the ocean flow is very gradual. So you get really like nutrient rich water coming up, and that makes it very productive. So these animals rely on this area. So as a result, when you overlap the shipping lanes with good feeding grounds, there is vessel strike.
Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, and of course if you like our show, do subscribe and follow.